Okay, you have 4 styles of factoring that I showed you. So I'm going to label each of these. So this one is called a simple trinomial because it starts with a 1x squared. It's got the 3, that's why it's the trinomial. This one is called a difference of squares. To be honest with you, if this was me and I wasn't too good at factoring, what I'm doing here, I would just write on my cheat sheet these 4 examples. If you want to just do this work with me on your cheat sheet. This one is called a GCF. And then this one is called a complex trinomial. So those are your 4 styles. Can you recognize them and then carry on and know what to do? Okay, so simple trinomial, your factors look like that. And then you go first times the first makes x squared. So x times x makes that x squared. The last times the last has to multiply to 30. But at the same time, it has to add together to make negative 11. So you're trying to get a number pair multiplies to 30 and can add up to negative 11. So you're going to go with negative 5 times negative 6. So what I'm doing is I'm backwards foiling, right? I'm undoing the foiling. So the x-intercepts are 5, positive 5, and positive 6 because that's what's making that bracket be 0. Okay, so this one, difference of squares. So same idea with the brackets. So I need something first and first to make 9x squared. So I'm going to go with a 3x and a 3x. And then I need the last times the last to multiply to 25. So 5 times 5. How do you multiply to negative? You're going to have one that's a plus and one that's a minus. Then you'll notice that there's nothing in the middle. The reason is because this is minus 15x and this is plus 15x, which disappears. So that's why there's nothing in the middle of this trinomial. So x equals negative 5 over 3, positive 5 over 3. Opposite, divide by, right? Because to get x alone, you'd eventually have to divide by 3. Move, divide. Okay, so GCF, move, divide. Because this is what you're doing. There's 3x plus 5, right? You're trying to make it do what? Equal 0. So what's the algebra? Minus 5, like move it over, and then divide. That's what you're doing. Okay, so the GCF, I see 2 terms, and then I can see a common factor within each of them. So what are they both commonly divisible by? I could divide them both by a 5 and by an x. So 5x times what makes 5x squared? X. 5x times what? And then how do I make 0? Well, 5 times 0. 4 subtract 4. That's how I'm making 0 in this equation. Okay, the last one is a complex. So here's what I'm going to do. Starting the process, I'm going to flow number it. So first times the last. So there's going to be a 4 at the front, 3 at the back. So that's going to be a 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Those are some options that I could do to multiply to that. Now, at the same time, I have to add to 8. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. We're going to go plus plus to make plus 12 and plus 8. So let's make our options. How could I produce 4x squared? Well, I have a couple options. I could do 1x times 4x. I could do 2x times 2x. How could I make 3? Well, 1 times 3. So I need to produce a partnership to be 6x and a partnership that makes 2x. So 6x and 2x are my partners. Okay, so now it's the lining it up to be a foil. Okay, so first times first, we picked 2x times 2x. Foil, outsides, insides. So I put 2x with a 3. So you can see how that outside is 6x. And I put this 2x with a 1. Can you see all my FOIL components? First times first, 4x squared. This outside and this inside together, 8x. Last times last, 3. Everybody here is really good at foiling, so foil it and check it out. Opposite divide. What can you do? On your calculator, you can always put these equations in. So I'll do it just to save time. Don't worry about it. Just watching. So I put it in my calculator. Second, calculate the 0. Left, right, negative 0.5. Boom, that matches negative a half. Second, calculate the 0. Now I'm going to be over here. Left, right, negative 1.5 matches that fraction. Okay, and then we had the quadratic formula. So this would be something on your formula sheet. So this is on your formula sheet that I give you. So don't worry about it on your cheat sheet. Okay, so we need to make sure we understand, well, what is an A, what is a B, what is a C? A is always how many x squareds you have. B is how many x's you have. And C is the number. Okay, so here's the formula. Negative b, so I'm going to write positive 8, plus minus b squared. Whatever you square, it should be what kind of value? No matter what, it's positive. So 64, because this is what I see people do all the time. Oh, negative 8 squared. No, this is wrong. What did this person do wrong in their thinking? This. They didn't understand the idea of negative 8 squared. Positive. Minus 4 times 3 times negative 7. Okay, so now you're going to go to your calculator and you're just going to type in just this. So I'd be 64 minus 4 times 3 times negative 7. So I'm just typing that in. So 148. So the square root of 148. So this is what, you don't have to write this, but this is just what my calculator looks like. Eight plus the root of 148 in brackets, divided by 6. Did you all remember that if you push second enter, it brings back what you have on your screen? And now I can just go back and put a subtract. So I don't have to retype it. I can just go second enter and it brings it back onto my screen. Okay, understanding what this means, right? These are the x-intercepts on my graph. This is what it's telling me. This one is at 3.36. This one's at negative 0.69. So what can I do? I have my calculator. I can check my answer, graph it, calculate 0, left, right, and I will get the same answer. Okay, but you still have to show me all your steps with your quadratic formula. But you should know the answer because of your calculator, okay? Okay, and in this one, let's just write down, how many x squareds do you have? How many x's? How many numbers? And don't just write the order. I might trick you. I might write my x's and then my x squareds. I don't know. So what would I look like if I was being tricky? I could look like this if I was being tricky, right? It's not in the order that it should be, so just make sure. Okay, x equals negative b, so negative 2, plus or minus b squared. So 2 squared is 4. Subtract 4 times negative 1 times negative 5, all over 2 times negative 1. Okay, so I'm in my calculator, and again, I'm just doing this typing. So 4 subtract 4 times -1 times -5 is -16. Okay, what do you know right now? Something happened. Some big math thing. I can't square root negatives. That's not possible. So what should I write? X equals, I should write no solution because it's not going to work. Can't square root a negative. So what I also did was I graphed this, and here's my graph. Does your answer make sense? What are the x-intercepts? Never. It's never going to have one. Do you notice that? So that's what that means. There's no x-intercepts possible on this graph. The way it starts and the way it goes down.